Hello, and welcome back to Daily Spanish 101. This time, what we are going to be looking at is Lesson 3. We are going to be looking at the ER and the IR verbs. And we are also going to see how they relate with the AR verbs and how they work into simple sentences. A lot of these things are fairly pattern oriented. So once you memorize the patterns, a lot of this ought to be fairly simple. Now, please remember what I said is you only have AR, ER, or IR verbs. There are no other types of verbs, just these three. All right, and now if we look here, what you're going to see is the present tense for the AR verbs. And if you look at the top, it is O, AS, A. Then we go over to the we side, nosotros, which is hablamos, AMOS, and the AN. The endings are what dictate the pronoun being used. Okay. Now, if you look at the bottom, you'll see the ER and the IR. They share a common conjugation. Now, with the vivo, yo vivo, I am using a verb known as vivir, and we will see that here in a minute. And then you have es for vives, e for he and she, vive. Then you have the imos. After that, then you have the en. Notice how it went to an imos when we were discussing we. Now, when I jump over to the right-hand side and you look at the er and the ir conjugation, you'll see that I have emos and imos. That means that if it's an er verb, I use emos. If it's an ir verb, I use imos. That's it. I mean, this is the only time. So these are the patterns. This is the present tense patterns for all AR verbs, ER verbs, and IR verbs. It does not matter if it's irregular. It doesn't matter if it's a stem changing verb. It doesn't matter what type of present tense verb. These are the patterns. This is all you have to memorize. So if you look at the right side, memorize where the pronouns are and memorize the ending that correlates to that pronoun. And you're good. That's it. That is all you need to do. So let's begin to look at some things here and we will keep going. All right, so if you remember from our last lesson, we saw the hablar being used, and so it is yo hablo, tú hablas, ella habla. Obviously, in English, it would be I speak, you speak, he or she speaks. Do you see how we change it in English? Here in Spanish, it's a lot more determined, it's a lot easier to identify, and this is why in Spanish they will simply drop pronouns because I don't need them. I can just simply say hablo. I don't need the yo in there. It's almost redundant for them. And so when we do this here, it is just simply the O, AS, A. Now, it correlates and it works with all AR verbs. It does not need to just be regular, but we're only looking at the regulars right now. So let's look at another verb. Here we have mirar, all right, and mirar means to look, or you could say to watch. If they ask you what are you doing, you can say I am watching television. Yo miro el televisor. I watch the television. All right, so it is I watch, you watch, tú miras, and again, it imitates just like hablar. Here's another one. Entrenar. Entrenar is the same thing. AR verb, entreno, entrenas, entrena, and so forth. All right. All right. Now, what we're going to do is compare the verb setup. All right. Look at the AR verbs. You'll see they end O, AS, A. We know this, okay? But the repetition is necessary for you. You need to have it repeated. You need to have it gone over. All right. And then look how it compares with the ER and the IR. Look how the E is the only letter that is adjusted from the A. Now, when we get into nosotros, look how I've highlighted it into red. We have the emos and the emos, E-M-O-S, I-M-O-S. All right, and now we can see how it works with vivir. As I just said, you were going to see it. So, yo vivo, I live. tu vives, you live. And again, it follows the I, okay? When it gets to nosotros, vivimos, it goes back into the I. Otherwise, you keep it as O, E, S, E. Now, look at another example with the IR verb at the end. You'll have recibir. Yo recibo, tú recibes, él or ella recibe. And then notice it goes right back into using IMOS when we want to say we. And then it goes back to an E, reciben. Okay? Now, this works better when you're looking at an ER verb. So let's look right here at comer. Notice how all of them are O, E, S, E, and then inside of the nosotros part, it says EMOS because it's following the E. Okay? That is how these verbs work. The ER will follow the EMOS, IR will follow the IMOS. They're just separated. Now, I know this can be confusing. That's why I have placed it inside of a bracket. That way you're able to see it again from an aerial view. And again, these are all the present tenses. Look at the ARs. They are O, AS, A, AMOS, AN. Now I have a really cool rule that will help you remember this. Okay? And then we go over to the ER, IR, O, ES. It's not AS. AS is for AR. ES is for ER, IR. And then you have E, EMOS for an ER, IMOS for an IR, and EN. It is just a pattern. Just remember the pattern. You cannot forget these pronouns and this pattern.
Stop on your right foot, don't forget it!
All right, so a good way to remember these things is if you look at the AR verbs, A follows the A. Look how they're highlighted. A follows the A, okay? And then when we want to go to the ER, IR verbs, E's follow the E's. The I's follow the E's except for when we are using it for nosotros, all right? All right, so here it is in the book form. What you'll have are the same outlines. You're going to have comer, vivir. Both of them are explaining the same thing I've explained. And then here you go. Here's a set of regular verbs in ER and IR form. Now, something interesting that I haven't really gone over, but you can see right here, is how you are able to use various ways of saying the present tense for this verb. Okay? Alright, so now what I've done is I've simply zoomed in, and if you look here, it says you can use this in three different ways. If you say yo hablo, then you can actually say I speak, I am speaking, or I will speak, an immediate future tense. And you can also do this for the ER, IR verbs. So if you say como or yo como, you're actually saying I eat. You could say I am eating, or you could say I will eat. Now, it all depends on the context. We do this in English as well. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to show you a few examples as to how this works, and then we can move on from this, okay? Alright, so here I put I eat at the 4 p.m. hours. Notice I'm literally translating it. It does say that I eat at the 4 p.m. hours in Spanish. And then it says I eat more late. Or what you're actually saying is, I am eating later. Okay? And then you have yo como cuando mi padre come. I will eat when my dad eats. Alright? So you can use the I eat yo como a las 16 horas. Or yo como más tarde. I am eating later. Okay? Those type things actually do make sense in Spanish and they do work. It's just simply a feel for it as you do that. Now, what would be some of the supposed questions that were asked? Well, you could say, what time do you eat during work? I eat at 4 p.m. Or you'll say, yo como a las 16 horas. Another question would possibly be, what are you eating? Okay, or I'm sorry, when? When are you eating? And you'll sit there and say, yo como más tarde. I will eat later, or I am eating later. Okay, and then are you going to eat? Well, I'll eat when dad eats. I will eat when dad eats. And notice how when I'm using that, it is I eat when my dad eats. You see how we do that in English? You see how we've switched it? So it's the same in Spanish, and I'll highlight it right here for you. Look, it says I eat when, and then look how I conjugated it for it to match the actual person. Okay, that's all Spanish is doing, and this for some reason throws everybody off. They're just like, oh my gosh, he has conjugated verbs, and we don't know how. If you know how the conjugation is, then it helps you a lot. It helps you so much more. And so, like I said, we had a sentence structure that I showed you from lesson one, and I'm going to bring that back up for us. But that will help you know how to do these verbs and how to read Spanish so that we begin talking and then we're able to do a lot of these things. Okay? All right, so I hope this helps. Let's move on and let's keep going. All right, so please remember this. This is what we're going to be using. We're going to be using this for our conjugation map for any verb that we are confronted with when we begin our simple sentences. All right, so cue up the simple sentences. All right, number one. I open a can of what? Wait, what? No. Let's adjust that. I'm sorry.
We're back and we've got a guest.
All right, number one. I open the door. Cool. So if you notice, I've already placed it in there. Je, that is our pronoun. So now that we know our pronoun, we must go and look for the verb to open. All right. All right. Let's look at our page. Here we go. Here are our verbs. Abrir. It's on the right hand side and it's an IR verb. Perfect. All right. Let's go and place it into our conjugation map. Je. And we need the O. So we take away IR from the abrir and we place it as yo abro. Well done. Now the next one is la puerta. So I need to place in there I open the door. Yo abro la puerta. And perfect.
What'd you do?
All right, number two. We read Spanish. Nice. We and then read. Let's look for the we. What is it? Nosotros. Well done. All right, so we have nosotros. Now we need to go back into our verbs. Let's look for it. Can you find it? All right, it's right there. Leer. Awesome. So we have leer. Now let's look at our little map. We leemos. E-M-O-S. We need to make sure it is an E-M-O-S. Nice. And then we want to put Spanish. Español. Well done.
Wool, host, annual,
Host.
host,
Annual.
an annual meeting of te
The.
oh the
Yeah.
inter
It's a big one.
All right, number three. You understand movies. All right, we got to look for the you. What would the pronoun be for you? Yes, it is to. So, to, and then we got to go and look for understand. Now, this is a non-normal ER verb, but it is used. So, if you look on here, you'll see it is comprender. Now, there is a better verb that's being used. It would be entender. So, I'll show you that here on the screen really quick so that it'll help you. But if you look at entender right here, it changes when we want to write entiendo. That means it is a stem changing verb. And we haven't learned stem changing yet, but entender is also to understand. Okay? But we want to look at a regular verb, one that does not change any letters as we are doing except for the endings. So comprender here on our verb page is much easier to handle. Comprender is also used, so it's almost a comprendes if you've heard that in movies. And so it is literally saying you understand. So to, and then we have comprendes that we just said, the ES. And so we would like to apply that as our you understand, okay? Tu comprendes, all right? But what we're using right here is simply a statement, okay? So let's put that on there. Tu comprendes, well done, all right? And then we would like to look for the verb, or not the verb, the vocabulary word for movies. And what would that be? Películas. All right. So, tú comprendes películas as a statement. All right. Well done. Got number 3.
Do you know anything about film? I know everything about film. I've seen over 240 of them. Congratulations.
All right, moving on. Number 4. They receive money. Okay, interesting. They receive. Let's look for they. What would that be? Ellos. Well done. All right, now we need to apply receive to ellos. So let's go into our verb page. See if you can find it. It's an IR and it's recibir. IR. So let's apply it to they. Ellos reciben. EN. Alright, so we want to write in there ellos reciben dinero. Money. Dinero. Not Robert De Niro, but that might be an idea. No, dinero. Just dinero. Alright, so we would like to put that on there. Well done and sweet. We have completed with number 4. They receive money.
Not show you! Show me the money!
Show me the money.
Yeah! Louder!
Show me the money.
That's it, brother, but you got to yell that shit!
Show me the money.
I need to feel you, Jerry!
Show me the money.
Jerry, you better yell!
Show me the money.
Alright, number 5. James sells seashells down by the seashore. Hey, I actually got that right. I figured I'd mess it up a lot. Alright, James sells seashells. This is really complicated. I'm not a fan of this. However, we will use James. Alright, so interestingly enough, once we write James in here, did you know that the name James actually is Santiago in Spanish? That's right. The capital city of Chile is literally James, Chile. So we have James, Chile here, and that is our capital. So if anybody ever asks, hey, have you ever been to Santiago, Chile? You can simply say, no, I have been to James, Chile. That's where I've been to. All right, and then we'll see the confusion on their face and all of that enjoyable stuff. We need to sell. James sells. Let's find it. What is it? Vender. Did you see it? It's under the ER. Vender, to sell. Nice. All right, now let's apply it to James. Now, if you notice here, it is the third person. It is not I, yo. It is not tu, obviously you. It has to be the third because it is a singular person. Okay, so it goes with he and she. So we apply James down below at the he and she position, and it is with an E. So let's put that in there. James vende. Well done. All right, seashells down by the seashore. Nope, can't do it. I'm going to have to explain way too much, and then we're going to have to say down by the seashore. Just do, okay, let's change this. All right, ropa. James sells ropa. James vende ropa. Or Santiago, however you like.
It was a cowboy hat, and now it's a pith helmet. And want the spank? Hold on, I'll talk to you in a bit. Hi, nice to see you. Can I help you, gentlemen?
Yeah, I'm gonna need black, 42 long, and nothing touches this body but pure silk. And get my partner something from the kids department.
Okay, would your partner like to be wrapped in silk as well? Some people think it's tacky, but I really enjoy it when couples dress alike.
No, wait a minute, no, this ain't no couple thing, man. We police officers working a very dangerous case and we need some clothes.
Yes, there are a lot of men chasing us.
As well they should be. Listen, you have nothing to worry about, okay? Because I'm going to turn you two into the belle of the ball.
Number 6, we made it. All right, number 6. You all eat pizza. Oh, this should be easy. Okay, we need to go and look for you all. You all. What would it be? Ustedes. Well done. Now remember, I'm speaking at someone. I'm speaking to them. It is not ellos. It is ustedes. Nice. All right, so we have ustedes. All right, let's look into our verb page. It is an ER verb. We've practiced it. Comer. Okay, it's actually fairly famous. All right, ustedes, and then we need to look at the application. Comen. That is correct. Ustedes comen. Nice. And obviously, pizza is actual internationally a cognate. So we love the cognates. All right. So ustedes comen pizza. Well done. So proud of you guys.
Hello? Yes, the elevator's out of order. You'll have to use the stairs. Well, of course you can. Pizza dates back to the 16th century, while the first elevator was not installed until 1852. That means that for over 300 years, people carried pizzas upstairs. Be part of that proud tradition.
All right, and thank you guys for coming out. This has been Lesson 3 of Daily Spanish 101. Hope you guys have enjoyed it, and I hope to see you on Lesson 4.
Hey, buddy. Anything new to report?
Do you mean to me from you? Because that's how it works.
Sure thing, buddy.